Hello, and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of quadratic domain and range. This is standard A.6A in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 32 of the 2024 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we've got part of a quadratic function here. We see part of the parabola shape. We see that vertex right there at 1, -4. And so we're looking for the domain. All right, so we need to know the difference between the domain and the range, because I can guarantee you that the range will be one of the incorrect answer choices. So what is the difference between the domain and the range? Well, the domain, if we want to think of it as the shortcut, right, we can think of them as the x values. Really, what we're talking about are the independent variables or the independent unknowns or values. However we want to phrase that, our range is going to be our y values then, or our dependent variables or our dependent values. So when we're looking at domain, we're looking at the x values. And so that means we need to move left and right. We're going to be looking at how far left it goes, how far right it goes. Now, sometimes in a true parabola, if we were to see something like this, and we were to have it like this, and instead of being cut off, it has these arrows, well, that's infinite. This would be all real numbers. At least the domain would be. Because when you get these arrows, even though it doesn't look like it extends forever, as it goes up, it continues to inch to the right, and as it goes up, it continues to inch to the left, and it eventually will encompass all real numbers. But we don't have that. We've got these closed circles, which means we have a definite domain and a definite range. So let's calculate both just to make sure we don't confuse the two. So if I'm looking at my domain, right, remember that's my side to side. Let's say that x is going to be, what is it going to be less than? And actually, it's going to be less than or equal to, because these are closed circles rather than open circles. All right, so x is going to be less than or equal to, and you notice my limit right there is 3. Okay, now on the other side, right, it's going to be greater than or equal to that -2. So this is what I'm looking at in regards to my domain. Range, which we want to know so we avoid choosing it, that's the vertical, the up and down. Those are my y values. So if we're looking at the top, right, it's going to be that 5. So it's going to be less than or equal to 5, but greater than or equal to, and you see my bottom right there, -4. All right, so now we need to translate this, because this is the one we're using, this is the one we're avoiding, into words. So we are going to use this as all real numbers. And then really what we do is we kind of read it from left to right, right? This is the inequality notation, and we can, read it from left to right there. So it is going to be all real numbers greater than, and then we have to include the or equal to, and then what's my limit there? -2, and it's going to be less than or equal to, and then my other limit, which is going to be the right-hand most limit, that 3. Right? So when we're looking at this -4 and 5, you see that's the first answer you come from. I see a -4 and I see a 5, but that's the range. So that's not going to work. -1 and 3, don't know where those come from, except I'm not even sure where that come from. Oh, they're looking at the solutions, the zeros. That's not going to work. -6 and -6, that's just the limits of this graph. Nope, our answer here is going to be D.